What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now Plus. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about November and December for gaming. You know, we just had the really avalanche of our lives, or at least the avalanche of 2024 in October, and, you know, there's actually still a few games coming out at the very end here, including Dragon Age the Veilguard on the final day that it can release in October, but I want to turn the page just a little bit, look to November and December. You know, obviously, I do the why I'm getting or not getting kind of series on a lot of these games, but it's definitely cooler in November and December, and I'm very appreciative of that because I have an increasingly large backlog that I need, including even like a Metaphor game that I need to actually get to. And there's a couple games though that I want to shout out and want to talk just a little bit on, but you know, there's no like guarantee huge game. I guess maybe the biggest one I can see is Indiana Jones. I think obviously if things go well with that, I think that's going to be not just a really great game, but also like a very popular game, right? That's probably the biggest one. Or even, honestly, Marvel Rivals. I mean, that game did really good in any kind of like closed fashion, you know, that it had in the past. So December really, it starts strong, and that's kind of it, you know, in terms of the second half of December. Obviously, that's just where things completely stop. Then you get a little bit of a break, and then you enter, obviously, 2025. So, you know, in terms of November for me, and I, you know, again, I've made a why I'm getting on a couple of these games already, but Planet Coaster 2, I think, is a rather big one. I feel like, in like magnitude, in terms of sales, in terms of popularity, and in terms of just how good it can be. Obviously, I'm looking forward to the water park features, you know, of that. And then just a day later, Slitterhead. And Slitterhead, to me, is on hope, is on potential, because the game it does look rough around the edges. It doesn't, I don't know, when you see one of these giant, even in Indiana Jones, honestly, when you see these big games, you know, they look very polished. They're supposed to be very polished. And Slitterhead doesn't. Slitterhead looks like, okay, it's a little rough around the edges, but I think it's more about the creativity, more about, you know, the legacy and where, you know, that kind of team and some of the executives there, higher ups, where they came from. Again, like, for this to be one of the bigger games shows you, yeah, it cools off in November compared to like August, September, October, but I do think Slitterhead can be quite big. And then on the 14th, you get hit by a couple in Dragon Quest III HD 2D Remake. That one I feel like is a pretty safe bet. Like, you know what it is, and you probably can guess that it's going to be pretty darn good, right? So that you have that, and then you also have Lego Horizon Adventures, which is another, not necessarily iffy one, but it's another one where it's like, okay, if all goes well, like, it can have an impact, and, you know, kind of opening up that younger generation to Horizon fans. But, you know, maybe it doesn't go so well. We're not, you know, obviously 100% sure. The previews were kind of mixed on this game. I think I'm a little higher on it than other people, but you have that, and then just a few days later on the 20th, you have Stalker 2. And to me, I mean, like, Slitterhead is actually, maybe like Planet Coaster. Planet Coaster and Slitterhead are kind of the two big ones for me in November. Stalker 2 could actually be the biggest, depending on how things go. I mean, I've talked about, I think on this channel, I talked about the previews that happened on this game last week, and, you know, it's not a game, like, genre that I play all that often, so, like, take it with a grain of salt, but that's the thing. Like, it looks really good, it sounds really good. It's not something that I'm, when I say comfortable with, I mean, like, I don't have too much experience playing these type of games, so I wonder how I'm going to gel with it. But, you know, it's on Game Pass. This is a, you know, Game Pass is going to have a pretty good 1, 2, 3 punch with Call of Duty, like, tomorrow, and then you have Stalker 2, and then you have Indiana Jones. I mean, this is a pretty good lead up into, I guess, basically the end of 2024. And then you go to December, and actually, I mean, like I said, the two that I would isolate is Marvel Rivals on the 6th, and then Indiana Jones and the Great Circle on the 9th. The 10th is actually the Legacy of Kain remaster, and you have like the Game Awards coming in December. So in terms of like announcements and the lead up and all that stuff, I think November is going to be pretty busy, and the beginning of December is going to be pretty busy. But that's all you got for December. But that's not to take away from it. Again, Marvel Rivals, you know, again, genre I'm not familiar with too much, and a genre that I don't play too much. But from what I saw of that early access kind of period, seems like everybody that was playing it was having fun. Seems like there was an audience of like people that were willing to watch and kind of participate in that way. And so, you know, that game could be honestly a huge hit if done right. And it seems like it's already been done right. And then Indiana Jones, like I said, I mean, I still get hung up on the first person v third person, type situation, but I have faith in the studio. And I just feel like they can pull it off, right? And I mean, again, if this is good, this is going to be a pretty big game. Like, I think we deserve, especially after the last Indiana Jones movie for sure, but even the last two Indiana Jones movies, we haven't had like this great era of Indy in the last like 10, 15 years. So it'd be nice to get a game that high quality, AAA, big, right? And it's actually like a really good game. So I'm hoping for that one. And I do think, in terms of me personally, right, the games that I'm looking forward to, I do think Indy would be number one if you're looking at just November and December. You do have, and I kind of given up on it coming out this year. It's not Wolf Among Us, but Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. That game is still, I guess, supposed to come out this year. I haven't seen any news that it's been like officially or formally delayed, but I mean, like where we're at right now, you'd have to give the date in the next like week or two, and it would have to come out the very beginning of December, right? Like that's kind of where they've put themselves. I think it's just going to get pushed. I think it'll be hopefully not a February game because there's like 80 games in February, but maybe like a March or April type thing you can get Power Rangers. So I mean, that honestly, to be flat out honest, that would be maybe my second most anticipated, just because Scott Pilgrim versus the World and just all of these the side scrolling arcade TMNT Shredder's Revenge, all of those type of games I think are awesome. And I mean, this game obviously gives off those vibes. It is that, and I do think that would be very, very high on my list. So there you go. Again, pretty, it's got a lot of, like, if everything goes well, it can be rather good. But compared to what we just came out of with the Metaphors and Dragon Balls and Silent Hill, and again, there's still a couple more just in this month. We had a pretty darn good September with the Astrobots and the like, and Black Myth Wukong even before then in August. Like, it's been, since the middle of August, it's been pretty fast and furious. But things are, I think, cooling off, I guess specifically in the quantity, right? Like the literal amount of big games coming out. There are less of them. If they pop off, then yeah, it can actually still be pretty big over the next couple months. If some of them fall, if Indy is just not all that good, that's like a huge blow. Slitterhead, I don't know like how many people are paying attention to that game, but maybe if that game's not great, November can get weak, I guess, depending on which games like work and don't work, right? But and these are, by the way, I mean, if it wasn't obvious, these are the games that are on my radar, so you'll probably see coverage for them on one of these two channels, right, over the next month or two. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. What games are you looking forward to the next couple months? Make sure, as always, you're subscribed to the channel, bell icon turned on. I hope to see you all on the next one.